Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and today is technically day 4 of my 30-day commitment to embodiment journey. I didn't upload videos for the past couple of days because a lot was happening. I was working at the yoga studio and all that jazz, and I had to go places and do things, and I tried to film a video but it felt rushed and it didn't feel good to post a video just to say, well, I posted a video. No, I mean, I want to give you, a certain level of quality of video. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about putting, quantity out there. It's about putting a certain level of quality. So I thought, you know what? If life says not today, then not today, and that's okay. And in the meantime of not putting out the video, I'm also into my embodiment journey of the things that I've been reflecting and meditating upon in the last few days. Anywho, so see this video as day 4, okay? We're just going to keep the same numbering system going on because I don't want it to be confusing. Now, that being said, shout out to for a couple of ladies who commented on some of my videos. Allison, first of all, I just want to say congratulations on doing your 200-hour yoga teacher training. Okay, I am very happy for you. You did something amazing for yourself, in my opinion, from someone who's in that field. And I pray that you keep learning and learning and learning and learning and learning. And in her comment, she shares that she took a sabbatical from her career that she already had in order to do that. And I can relate because, even while staying in the same field, I took a sabbatical for a year because I had to, I'm thinking of an expression in French that says, ramener les pendules à l'heure. In English, it's like to just align put your ducks in a row, something like that. So even in the yoga field, maybe not for the next 30 days for this series. I may not go too deep into that topic. Maybe afterwards. I still need to do the final inner release and clearance of whatever's left behind. I just gotta dust that last little piece of dust off before I dive into that topic about my true feelings about yoga in the Western world today. I got a few thoughts about it. And after the experiences that I've had, I've taught full-time in my city, going from studio to studio to studio. I just had a full-time yoga teaching gig. I've traveled for it. I've worked in resorts. I've worked in yoga retreat centers. I've done a lot, and it brought me to I need to do a full stop and digest everything, because there's a lot of that stuff that I experienced that I'm like, this is not yoga. Anywho, so I needed to take a moment for myself to really find my voice. And now I've found it. And now embodying the version of myself, this, different version of myself, which in a way is more like going closer to the truth. So instead of becoming, it's like remembering. Okay, so instead of putting on something new, it's like I'm taking things off. This does not align with me anymore. It made sense at a time in my life, but now after all these experiences, I see a little clearer, and therefore I'm taking some stuff off. There's some things that I'm definitely letting go of, and I will talk about it after the series is over. If you're interested, let me know my thoughts on what's going on in the yoga world in the Western world. All right, so back to embodiment. And speaking of which, Allison, who just inspired me with the fact that she just became, well, I don't know when, but that she did her YTT. Just reading her comment reminded me that what I'm doing now, I've done before. Because when I decided to become a yoga teacher a yoga teacher, people had peeped that for me before I did. People knew that I was a yoga teacher before I knew. They saw it before I did. And I'm talking about years ago. Years ago. I became a yoga teacher in 2020. People in 2010 or 2011, I was in Hawaii. People then asked me to teach them a class, and please understand, I was at the beach. I did not have a yoga mat with me. I was not doing yoga postures. Nothing. I didn't have a book that's called yoga or whatever. Nothing. There was nothing to say that I am a yoga teacher. People saw it before I did, and they approached me and asked me to lead them in a yoga class. Complete strangers. I don't know these people from nowhere. And they came up to me and asked me, really? So people saw it before I did. And that's okay. You know, that was the future version of me leaving breadcrumbs like, Carol. Just, you know, when these people say this stuff to you, like, yeah, follow those breadcrumbs. Maybe in another video, side note, I should share about future version of me, how I actually met her in Hawaii. It is one of the wildest things I've experienced in my life. I have a lot of wild experiences when it comes to more spiritual things, and I'm thinking some of them I can share. And that one I'm gonna share because that was quite the, yeah, I don't know how science would explain that, okay? But anywho, so all this to say, when I decided, like, oh yeah, okay, I am a yoga teacher, years later, like a decade later, whatever, when I finally made that decision for myself, I immediately embodied that version of myself. Immediately. I was at my job at the time. I worked for the health department in my city, and I was at work, and I did it at work. Shh, don't tell nobody. But I signed up while I was at the job. I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I signed up. Now, the minute I signed up, I promise you, it's like I shape shifted, like like a full body, full mind shape shift, because my heart was already in it. My heart was like, catch up, come on body, catch up. And then the body caught up and the mind caught up too. I immediately became her. I signed up. I'll never forget. I signed up, sent my deposit, got the confirmation email back that, okay, you're in, and you know, the following instructions for what's coming next. But the minute that happened, the moment that happened, I immediately assumed it, embodied it, was her. I was Caroline, the yoga teacher. And I'll never forget, because after I got the confirmation email, which, you know, takes a couple of minutes after, because it's automated, right? So it took a couple of minutes after I sent my deposit and you know, et cetera. The minute I received the confirmation email, my first thought was, okay, so I'm a yoga teacher. Now, how do I prepare for the training? So I decided first that I was that. Said, I am that I am. I am a yoga teacher. And so now what do I got to do to train for it? How do I prepare for the training that's going to give me the paper that allows me to go around and teach, and at least knowing that I've had a certain level of training for it? I became her before I even did the training. It was September 2019 when I signed up for a training that was supposed to happen in June 2020, but the pandemic happened and it was pushed back to September 2020. So a full year before I even stepped into the room where the training would start, I was already a yoga teacher from a year prior. And every decision that I took after I signed up for it was as her. So I knew, okay, I already went to the yoga studio regularly, easily 5-6 times per week, okay? Because I worked a full-time job, so I could take 1 class per day. So I would go, usually I would go every day of the week, maybe not the Friday, and then go Saturday, Sunday. I would always have 1 or 2 days off from the physical practice every week. So I would go regularly. So that was already, I had that down pat. And then I was like, okay, if it's 30 days of intense physical activity, because I knew there was going to be 3 physical practices during the trainings, and that's 6 days a week for 4 weeks, I was like, okay, I need to go and train. So I joined this training group in my hometown, and I would go like maybe 3 times per week with that training group. I walk. I love to walk. So every night I would go for my long walks, like hour and a half walks every day. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's a meditation in action for me. So I would do that. And then on top of that, studying yoga philosophy, I dove deep into all the knowledge that I could get, everything that I could do to be prepared for when I showed up at that training. I did, because I was already her. I was already the yoga teacher. And especially in my head, the way that I pictured it, I knew I wanted to travel with her, like as her. So even then, I had, oh Lord, the things that happened. The minute I knew I was in, when it was time to renew my lease for my apartment, I was like, nope, I'm gonna be out of here by, as of the end of May, because the training was supposed to be in St. Martin in the Caribbean from June 1st to June 30th. Again, that's pre-pandemic, because the paperwork for the apartment lease, you receive it during the winter. Now, we already knew, you could hear, in the news that things were happening, but it didn't become a whole global thing yet. So I had time to, as soon as my the concierge in my building handed me the papers, I was like, sis, stay right here. I'm signing. I'll be out. And matter of fact, you can rent it out before July 1st, because I'm leaving for the month of June. So as of the end of May, man, March came through, and we all know what happened in March 2020, okay, when they made the announcement. So then everything changed. But nonetheless, I embodied that version of myself immediately. So it's funny to me. And you know what? Little side note, even when all that happened, the pandemic coming through, and then not knowing what was going to happen with the training in St. Martin was canceled, and then they decided to have it in my hometown in September. But studios were closing. I was like, yo, if I become a yoga teacher, where am I going to teach? So uncertainty, doubt came in. Everything came at me in my mind, in my spirit, telling me this is not the best idea. Maybe we should wait. We have a great job, benefits, great pay. We have, now the apartment, we let go, but we can find something else. Or maybe we can see if we can get it back, if they didn't rent it out yet, because you're still in it. Anyways, everything that I thought of, because I wanted to travel as a teacher. Well, now traveling is fucked, so what are you gonna do? You're not gonna be able to do the work that you want to do. So maybe we should stay at this job for now. And you have a good team at work, you have good friends at work, like fuck it, like wait to become a yoga teacher. My mind was loud, real mother-loving loud. Okay. And I hesitated till the very last minute to know for a fact, like, am I doing this or not? Literally, I waited like for the 2 weeks notice that I had to give to my job. I wanted to give them more time, but 2 weeks notice is good enough. But I waited till the last minute to make my decision. That's what forced me to make a decision, because it was either like, okay, we're in mid-August. I have to tell my job that I'm leaving. I have to tell them now, and let the people of the yoga teacher training that I'm coming. But I had a deadline, and I waited until the deadline to know what to do, to decide on what I was going to do. And of course, I decided to become a yoga teacher. I decided to take that leap of faith. But that's because it was too late for me, okay? Because since September 2019, so almost a year, okay, between when I signed up, immediately embodied her, and the moment that I was going to do the training, because it was pushed back to September 2020, right? Almost a year of me living, sorry, had technical issues, but all this to say, after a year of living as her, my heart was already beating at that frequency, at that vibrational frequency, that I am a yoga teacher, a traveling yoga teacher, and etc., etc., etc. Everything that I had in mind that came with that change in my life. So that's the blood that my heart was pumping into my veins, that was reaching each and every cell of my body. So it was too late. No matter how hard my mind was fighting it, my body was already in it. Okay. And even with the ups and downs of everything related to the pandemic from March until then, there was always, I always had hope. Somewhere in my heart, I was like, wait, things are going to change. Let's be patient. Things are going to change. You know what? And then the more time went by, the worser things got. And then the more doubt would, settle into my spirit. But my heart was like, nah, girl, it's too late. I'm beating at I am yoga teacher frequency. It's too late. Like the heartbeat is on it. So I decided to take that leap of faith. Now, so all this to say that maybe, I'm pretty sure in your life, there are examples of when you immediately embodied a version of yourself. Or even if it's not an immediate thing, it happened fast, okay? And you can look back and think, damn, when I made that decision at that moment to like change a whole aspect of my life in whatever way, shape, or form, it did not take long for me to just, jump on that train and run with it, because you can see how you've quickly made choices in your life, or taken decisions, or put your foot down, or whatever it is. You see that it had an immediate effect, as if it was already in you, and suddenly, like a seed, and suddenly it sprouted. It didn't take long for it to sprout, but maybe it's because the seed was already in you for a while, kind of like how those people in Hawaii who asked me to lead them through a class, even though I wasn't a teacher, they already had seen it before I did. The seed was already planted in me. It was already in me, period, but they saw it before I did, and they poured some water over it. Them and everybody else after that, until I became a certified yoga teacher. It was already in me, and people came and watered it. And I also watered it just by being a devoted student of the practice. So when the time came for me to fully accept that, okay, I am that I am, I'm a yoga teacher, then it was like rapido, immediately, instant shapeshift in mind and body, because the heart was already in it. So maybe if you take a moment and just in hindsight, look back into your life and see like, oh, when did I see a quick shift? Again, maybe a seed was planted before you were aware or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the minute that you decided that you were aware, your eyes are wide open, and you made a decision, an executive decision on it, how fast did it just go for you? How fast did it flip for you? Okay. And so maybe this is something that you can, sit with and give me your thoughts. Of course, I would definitely appreciate hearing your comments on this. And so give you a very brief what's going on, a little update on my journey at this very moment. Now, what's fun is what I am currently embodying is an extension of who, well, for all of us, it's just an extension of who you are, okay? So it's not like you're faking, trying to be somebody else. No, it's an extension of who you are. And so the version of me who's going deep into the entrepreneurial aspect and doing her own thing when it comes to yoga as a teacher and as a yoga lifestyle coach is an extension of the yoga teacher that I was, right? It's almost as if like, oh, it's the natural next step after what I've experienced after I took my sabbatical and had to, take some time with everything that I experienced and to filter through it all of what was complete nonsense or toxic and what was definitely like, oh, nuggets of gold throughout this experience. I had to sit with that and find my voice, find my message, and now to stand and be anchored very deeply within myself with my new message, with my voice, so that I can bring it out there. And after all of this, now I see how this is just a natural extension, the natural next step. And so I definitely am one who will entertain it here and here for a while, but at the same time, taking action, even if it seems like a small action, but I will take action on it because it's an extension of this version of myself that I embody. So let's say in the morning, I like to take time. I go out on the balcony, look out at the yard. I have my coffee and I sit there and I go and I commune with her. I commune with her. I am with her, the version of me, the yoga teacher who now has her own thing, her very own thing. And I just sit with how it feels. And even if sometimes it'll, there are some feelings of fear or, anxiety that come through, I allow them to just express themselves. Like, go ahead and say it. It's okay if you have this fear. It's okay if you have this anxiety. It's okay if you have these doubts. You had them before you became a yoga teacher when there was the pandemic and, that particular chapter of your life. You had all those feelings, and yet look how things panned out after that. Everything you wanted to do as a yoga teacher at the time, checked off your list. Everything. And now your dreams are bigger. Or not necessarily bigger because they were big to me at the time, but now that I've done them, I'm like, all right, But now they're different. They're different. It's something completely out of your usual. But trust all of this. Trust being her while feeling the feels of the former version of you who's doubting, the same way that the version of you who worked at the health ministry job was doubting you going into yoga as a teacher during a full-blown pandemic. Okay? Trust, have faith. And while you bask in the feeling of that version of yourself, allow everything to come up and just let it flow through. I watch them like clouds in the sky. If I feel the anxiety, whatever thoughts come with it, I just allow them to pass as I take a sip of my coffee and just enjoy sitting on the porch. I just allow it all. And then feelings of joy will come through, feelings of empowerment, feelings of just being so in my truth. See, I talk about it now, it's like, I feel it in my body. It feels so good. It's scary, because it's different. It's outside of my comfort zone, but oh my God, it's exciting. And it's like, yeah, I want to do this, And it's not just I want to do this, I'm doing it, and I will envision it. I'll see myself running my business and going out there and doing all these things. I see it all, I feel it all, and I accept it all. I allow it all to just exist in my being. And now I know that my heart is beating at that particular frequency. And while it's rushing all of these sensations and these feelings and this new truth into my being, of course, that flow of energy is gonna pull up other types of energy from the bottom, the anxiety, the fear, and all that. It'll come up to the surface so they can be flushed out. So I allow them to come through and be flushed out. And this is what I've been really anchoring myself in the past few days. So even if I didn't post videos, that's what I've been up to. Is because, I have to go to work and do things and do that, do this and that. But beyond everything that I'm doing, every morning like clockwork, that is my ritual. It's embodying her in feelings and sensations and allowing whatever wants to come up and allow it to express itself and to flow through. Kind of like a friend who wants to come and vent. You love your friends. You're going to be like, oh, go ahead, tell me about that man that did that thing, how at your job this girl is getting on your damn nerves. You've heard the story so many times before, but that's your friend, so you're like, all right, go ahead, give it to me. What happened? And you're just, listening, and then when they're done, you're like, all right, you feel better? Yeah, I feel better. All right. Maybe you give a few words of encouragement or whatever they need to hear to make them feel better. And then they feel better. And then that's it, you move on. Same thing, okay? That's what I've been doing. So, all right, that will be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If this is your vibe, if it resonates with you, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to have you on this journey with me. Let me know in the comment section if you're also on the same journey. So another one of the comments that I received was somebody who mentioned, I'm so sorry, sister, if you're watching this, I forget your name off the top of my head, but she said that she's also been on this embodiment journey recently. So please share with me your experience or any tips that you have, anything that's worked for you or anything that's not worked for you. Let's share it all, okay? We're doing this together. So let me know in the comments if you're also going through this type of journey, and I would love to have a conversation with you as well. So on that note, I will let you go. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for day 5 of 30 days of commitment to embodiment.